All right, so we'll basically be looking at three things if time will allow us. First will be when you have two or more previous PC layered, how do you treat them? Then how do you reduce the possibility of having validations, invalidations, validations, invalidations? We've covered this one time when we tried to use currency strength using currency features to narrow down to the best pairs to trade for a week, where you wouldn't have, continuous validations, invalidations. Even though we know that AQZ will eventually give you a winner, you would want to reduce your wait time or the number of times you get have to absorb a scratch. And if time permits us, we'll look at the AQZ momentum shift in a more deeper way. All right, so let's look at having PCs layered. There are times you find PCs, that's prophetic candles, layered almost at the same point. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time after my morning routine to look for good examples. We can quickly scan through. We'll definitely find one. Okay, so let's say you actually have two pieces like this, 1, 2, layered, almost close by. The safe bet will be to use the one at the extreme. So let's say I have this PC, and then I have this PC. So when price is making a resurgence back up, the safest bet would be to use the PC at the extreme. So in this case, we have one PC here, 30th March, another PC here, 6th of April. I would rather discard 30th March and make use of 6th of April. So we're just looking at the mechanics. How would you increase profitability? If I were to take out this, now I might not have gotten an entry for this trade. And if I was expecting a sell, that would have been a losing trade. Of course, we don't bother if we have losing trades or not. We know we always have losing trades and then we'll have winners. But if I take this out and I use this PC here, there's every likelihood I could have gotten an entry after that validation for a push to the upside. And in fact, that would have given us a TP1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it gave us TP1 and even gave us TP2. Right? If we had gotten in straight up here, it would be straight at preferred entry, TP1, TP2. Right? So, and this happened on some pairs. If you just take in the PC without looking at the fact that we're trying to trade extremes here, right? We're trying to trade extremes. So if you have two PC close, right? And let's say price actually pushed up and started coming back down, I would rather wait for the PC at the fringe, the extreme. I would miss out on 1 or 2 trades, but it gives me high probability, right? Except you want to trade in between the two PC. Now you get confused. This is not theory now, I'm talking practical. When you're in the heat of the market and you're trading and you have a PC here, then you have a PC here. Which would you pick, right? Which would you go for? I would rather go for the PC at the extreme. It increases my odds of winning. And that's basically what we're trying to do. So I think this is clear enough and very straightforward. Unfortunately, again, my bad, I didn't prepare enough. I would have gotten more examples for us. Let's say into this week, you have this PC and then you have this PC, right? They are both PCs. You want to pick the one at the extreme. So which is higher? If I turn this to a crosshair, okay, let's just use horizontal line. I have this here, then I have this here, right? Or maybe I should use a ray so it could denote where we actually started from. I have this here, then I have this here. Two PCs within close proximity. Which should I choose? Right? From an analysis now, analogy, we said we'd rather go for this, and there you can see the reactions, than go for this, right? Not that it won't work, but you want to trade from the fringe, right? You want to trade from the fringe. In fact, if I see a PC and the PC has played out and price has moved away from that PC, and I have an AQZ qualifying candle just around the PC, this is an AQZ qualifying candle, an inside bar, just around the PC, I could simply say, thank you, PC, and then I use the qualifying candle because it's just basically just some pips away. And then I can get this sweet reaction for my sell and the likes. Again, just different ways of looking at it. We're still using the PC, right? Close proximity. You could trade both. You could trade either of them or even both, but you want to give yourself some slack, right? And increase your odds of winning. All right, so that is one way. Let's move to the second thing we want to consider today. All right, so we want to look for ways of narrowing down to high probability trades. And I usually will use currency futures, but I also want to teach us one way you can also narrow down your odds of losing and increase your odds of winning. I'll go into MT4 temporarily before coming back here. And I'm going to show you guys something, and then we'll use that to frame up deciding when we'll most likely get massive push in the market. Where is that now? All right. Okay. So I want you to watch. This is MT for 4-hour time frame, part of what we teach in the first program. This is a 4-hour time frame. So I'm going to click on Control Y to have these vertical lines that basically delineate weekly time frames, 1 week. So from this point to this point is 1 week. And from this point to that point is 1 week, and so on and so forth. So there are some high probability setups that occur when liquidity are taken. High probability setups that occur when liquidities are taken. Again, it tallies with the principle of taking prophetic candles at the fringe, at the edge. So you could have large movements in price, and if possible, vigorous movements in price, a dash in price, and then you make your 3-hour, 4-hour, 5-hour, and the likes. And if you trade from lower time frames, you can even make 20 hours. So I'll give you an example, right? So this point here happened to be the lowest point in this week. If I see a prophetic candle popping up after the low of a previous week or the high of a previous week has been taken, I am most likely going to have a very, very powerful, high probability prophetic candle. So when the low of the previous week was taken, if I get a PC here, it will move so fast, sometimes I might not just be able to play the preferred entry. I might be forced to play, the roadmap. So let's look at Euro GBP. See, did we get a PC here? This happened to be sometime around 2nd of April. We'll go back to Euro GBP. 4 hours. Oh, yes, we did. And you see that movement? Massive push in price. There are several examples we could look at, and I want to dwell here a little if you allow me. So we'll be able to increase our odds of winning. Let's look at NZD Chef, for instance. NZD Chef. So these are trades we took this week. Notice how price took out the previous week's low and see the dash. Up here, notice how price took out the previous week high and see the dash. Right? So we'll go back to NZD Chef and see if we have pieces that tallies with what I just explained now. NZD Chef. Did we get a PC here? Oh, yes, we did. Would it have been a sweet trade? Oh, yes, it was. Massive, massive run-up. Right? So now we've gone beyond just trading probabilities on PC by increasing our probability. Did we get a PC here? And again, this is 5th of April. Tallies with this point here. Oh, yes, we did. Did it play out? Oh, sure, it did. Massive. Massive movement from one PC to another PC. Massive pips here, guys. Right. Over how many hours? Several hours, to be precise. I doubt if I have, right? I actually stopped in TP5 or there, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, man of little faith. And price went like 11 or 12. Take profits. Right? So what did we really watch out for? We just watched out for the previous week, high or low. And price takes it and gives us a PC, we're good to go. There are other examples. Here, price took out this week's high, gave you a PC, drop. Price took out this week's low, gave you a PC, rise. Price took out this week's low, gave you a PC, rise. Let's move on. If you have questions, of course, you could drop them. Okay. EuroChef, something similar happened again on EuroChef. Price took out this Swiss low. Did we get a PC? Maybe, maybe not. Let's check. EuroChef. Oh, we did. We got a PC. Like I told you, sometimes it happens so fast, you can't even get an opportunity to enter, right? Because you're trading high probability now. And this was the example I gave before. If you have 2 pieces close proximity, use the one at the fringe. But again, played out sweetly, right? we might not be able to cover how you could take entries, but AQZ has actually made it easy. You have the roadmaps, and then there are ways you could take your entries as it moves. And sometimes you don't just get an entry, and we say sorry for our miss. USD card. Let's go back to MT4. See USD card. Also, did you notice USD card? Did this take out this week's high? Yes. And then did it drop? Yes, it did. Just get your PC high probability setup. So now you can scan through 15, 16, 17 pairs and watch for PCs happening at areas where you could have high probability, and then take price, take your trade. So here we have PC, 30th of March, 30th of March. Took out this high, yes, it did. Again, yes, PCs can come any time of the week. It doesn't have to be beginning of the week. It could be any time. The high or the low could be taken any time of the week, not necessarily. But watch this. Took out this high, didn't give you an entry. Sweet entry for a sell, dropped. Second entry, dropped massively, right? Again, the principle is the same with the first theory I proposed. Everything here is a proposal. We're not financial advisors. You want to trade the fringe. It basically just increases your odds of winning. If you now want to trade, I don't want to use the word order blocks now. If you now want to trade the zones as it goes, the roadmap, fine, you can do that, right? So if we're going down for a sell, we know every bullish candle in a bearish trend is our friend. Every bullish candle in a bearish trend. So bullish candle in a bearish trend, mark it up. Bullish candle in a bearish trend, mark it up. Price came to preferred entry, boom, dropped, right? So every bullish candle in a bearish trend is your friend. Every bearish candle in a bullish trend is your friend. But if you don't want to do that, then you could just basically trade from the fringe, from the, outskirt, something like that. We could basically do this all day. Someone was asking beginning of the week. Nope, look at this. It wasn't the beginning of the week. So sometime around Wednesday, and price ran with that for almost 2 weeks. Again, this is UC. Let's check 17th of March. Did it play out well? UC 17th of March. Here we are. We got our PC for a bull run. We would have marked out our PC. Price came, violated, pushed back, and then would have found reasons to want to go on. Let's portray this this way. Would have found reasons to want to continue. And if it's a losing trade, sorry for your loss. Prepare for the next one. But again, you get the idea. You're looking at the fringe, and you're looking for high probability setups when taking your trades. All right. Do we have other pairs playing out nicely? What happened in EN? Isn't this a sweet trade? Very sweet trade. Took out the high, melted. What about this week, previous week? Took out the low, expanded. So let's check again if we have PCs at those points. EN, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we did one here, expanded, came back to this, dropped. So we didn't quite get a PC around here, but you get the gist. 24th of March happens to be this area here. The price returned. If you use previous PCs, again, you're using the PC at the fringe, right? No PC close to this point. This is the only standing PC at this level. That is a typical example of a PC came first, and this happened to be lower. You use the one at the fringe, right? If the positions were swapped, that this happened to be the first and this was the last, just use the fringe. You would lose, you miss one or two trades, but not that much. Price will move. So someone said we should look at AUD card. All right. We have AUD card. Again, AUD card gave us nice one earlier in the week. This low took out the previous week's low and then rallied. And now price is taking out this low, but again, sitting inside this zone. I have no doubt we might have a PC around here for 19th of March or thereabouts. So let's go back to it. AC, AUD card. All right. Now, so I have one PC here, I have one PC here, and I have another one. If you are drawn your PCs this way, except you want to play violation and continuations, again, following our rule, you would have been looking at this if you look at this too. But we have one close by here. Wouldn't you rather wait for possibility of price trading to the fringe? That's exactly what's happening. So yes, thanks to Fraz. Right, so go back to your charts, see those times where you get validations, invalidations, validations, invalidations. You might just be in the middle of nowhere, right? So imagine price piercing down and coming back, and you have this, this, and this. Just wait for the one at the fringe. Wait for it. Price will most likely take out all this liquidity here and push up. Then you might begin to look for reasons to sell. Right, high probability trades. Reason why sometimes by Wednesday we're done trading for the week, because you are not just trading blindly. It's either you're using futures to narrow down on which is strong and weak, so you pair them together. If you missed that class, I think we have the video on SimplyPips YouTube, and we'll also have it, I think, on our Facebook page. Somebody please help us drop AQZ Facebook page. And if you join this webinar from SimplyPips, you're not on AQZ group, someone please drop the link to AQZ group. I will drop it again on Telegram. But the Facebook page, someone can drop that for us, right? And of course, you go ask in the AQZ group, someone might just have the video where we discussed how to increase your odds of winning, pairing strong and weak currencies. But again, if you are not interested in doing all of those tedious work analysis, then you look for your AQZ PCs at the fringe, taking out previous week's high, in this case, liquidities. Did we look at Euro card? Did we? Oh, Euro card, right? Sweet one happening right before our eyes now. Sweet one happening right before our eyes. Euro card. Where are you? So what happened? It took out the high. And then did we get a PC? Yes, we did. And believe it or not, even though we didn't start from preferred entry, but TP1 hit and we seem to be going down. Again, sweet one. Would it always be this sweet? If it was, some of us would be richer than Bill Gates. So here we have a PC sitting, no man's land. So you could have fibbed. Let's make this bigger. You could basically have fibbed this level and be anticipating a retest subsequently. You didn't get that, but you got a sweet, retest, and boom, price went up, right? So I think it was the 3 days webinar we had on the SimplyPips platform. I was stating that when I trade invalidations, so I learned something from Dodd. When I trade invalidations, and the candlestick giving me the invalidation, or rather the PC, as in this case, is a bearish engulfing or a bullish engulfing, right? A bearish engulfing, a bullish engulfing. If I get a candlestick that's a bearish engulfing and a bullish engulfing, giving me my PC, I would love for price to not just invalidate my bias, but violate the candlestick patterns. So there are two terms there. Again, Vinny did some wonderful PDF documents. You should see them in the AQZ group. We have violations and we have invalidations. When price, this is a bearish PC, we're basically sellers who would sell from this zone. But if price comes back and close above this zone, we have, excuse me, we have, 1 minute, please, I need to take water. Sorry about that. So we have, when price breaks above the preferred entry, we call it an invalidation. There are times price gives you an invalidation and then just bumps and run away. But there's also a term known as violation. This is a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. If I put a horizontal line flushed on the body, open and close, or close and open in this case, of the bullish and bearish candle, if price breaks above the line, mitigation for ICT traders, then we have a violation. So if I have a candlestick pattern that is not an inside bar, but an engulfer, which could be a bearish or bullish engulfing, and I get an invalidation of and that way I'll need to price to break above that black line, right? So when that happens, what it does is that it gives you high probability that there's something price is going to look for above. And then you could just take your retest, and usually it will just be TP1 or 2, most times, just TP1 or 2, and then price reverses. So you don't fall into a situation where you have validations, invalidations, validations, and it plays on a cycle. So let's look at this. Price went bullish, closed above our line. Now we have an invalidation and a violation 2 in 1. Then we could basically have gone long, hit our TP1, TP2, TP3, and I tell you TP4, right? We would have done that. So if you've noticed today, what we've tried to do, for those of you chatting me privately, we've tried to help you see how you can take high probability setups. That doesn't negate the fact that you shouldn't hop around from pair to pair, except you have a reason why you're doing that. So like Papa Pips, who spends so much time on gold and is doing very well, I'm tempted to look at gold again. So 1 or 2 pairs is just enough. But you see, if you trade this method I just explained, then you could hop from one pair to the other because you know exactly what you're looking out for. Exactly what you're looking out for. So how can we do this practically? Oh, somebody's asking, would I wait for a retest of preferred entry? You could decide to do that or not. In this case, by the rules of AQZ, we are already in a trade. Price broke, pushed back into our sell zone, and is melting away. Again, remember I told you that if you use this method of waiting for price to take out a high, price might move so fast you wouldn't get an entry. All the examples I've given so far, price moved vigorously, you could barely get an entry, right? So if you get an entry at your first entry, again, we have the tip of the AQZ block as a first entry. I love doing dollar cost averaging. Second entry, somewhere in the middle. Oh, let me take out this, right? Third entry at your preferred entry. You would be at TP1 or thereabout now. And if price goes like I'm predicting it might go, we might see it come all the way to this level. And that would be massive, right? So you want to increase your odds of having massive. So if you're trading FTMO, you want to have 3 trades in a week and have the possibility, not a certainty, that they will go 5R, 4R, right? Now, how do you do this actually? If you don't like hopping from MT4 to TradingView, I'm sure with the numerous bright minds we have here, before the end of today, somebody is going to drop perhaps an indicator from TradingView that could help us find our week, right? Weekly highs or lows. Somebody might just be able to do that. What an easier way would be to just simply go to your weekly time frame. When you go to your weekly time frame, and that you could do on Sunday, you basically could see the high of the previous week. Get this icon here, magnet mode is on, snipe it to the tip of last week's high, snipe another one to the tip of last week's low. Set an alert by clicking on the horizontal ray. Come here and set an alert. Price crossing the horizontal ray once. Every notification you get to see to your mobile device, show as pop-up, usually on the PC, and send an email. Once that is done, you simply say create. So let's have an example here. All right, so you can see that now I have an alert coming up, weekly one crossing the horizontal ray. So you get something like this, right? You get something like this. You could simply come here to your alerts, usually at the top. I click on it, and then you see all the alerts that has popped up. So we just got EuroCard now, and we got Card Chef, right? And if you remember, we'll come back to it. All right, so depending on what trading view you use, I have the highest version, paid version in TradingView. So at the end of the week, you simply come up here and you restart everything. Right? Or you come to restart all inactive, restart everything, it restarts everything. So everything has been triggered, is brought back up again. Right, now EuroCard is coming up again, right? So you could do this on weekly time frame. After setting your horizontal on the weekly time frame, you could come even to the 4 hours to now set your alert, because the time frame upon which you set the alert is when the alert is going to pop up. So now you would have gotten this alert as at the time it took out this high. Then you would also have gotten an alert for EuroCard H4 PC double confirmation to go short. Double confirmation to go short, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so what else in this case of alerts? I think I've covered alerts now. So yeah, okay, I saw something, EuroCard. We had EuroCard, we had, nope, take this out, take this out. We had card CHF buy yesterday. So if I click on card CHF, we have the buy yesterday. Let me take out all these drawings. And let's go to weekly time frame. What happened with card CHF? So at the beginning of the week, you would have had your high and your low. The low was taken out You would have gotten an alert, and you also got a weekly AQZ buy alert. So we're talking high probability trade setups today, guys. So here you have and so what did we say concerning this setup? Sometimes they move so fast they don't give you an entry. So if I don't get an entry here, for instance, to answer the question someone asked, what's the best way to trade continuation trade? Oh, sorry. So price is breaking this zone. Again, I'm very happy because this looks like an inside bar. So if price breaks, comes for a retest, I'll be going long, right? We can't cover everything in one day, but just know that whatever trading strategy you use, even if it is BTMM, so I think it was on Tuesday I gave a way you could trade BTMM with AQZ, and it was an insane method, right? You just simply wait for something to happen down in your 15 minutes inside your H4 AQZ block, and you take your trade. It has a wonderful win rate. So ladies and gentlemen, it's 44 minutes in. I'll just quickly touch on AQZ momentum shift, and then we'll call it a wraps for today. Hopefully, so far so good. Let's even take that. So far so good. Have we made any sense? Okay, so thank you guys. So when we were discussing the blend, we had some people private chat me and like other blocks, AQZ, and I was trying to prove to everyone that AQZ actually trades order block in case you just want to hear the word order blocks, right? But what it does is that it simplifies it in terms of your entry. You don't have so many movable parts on your chart. If you trade BTMM, for example, you have to wait for blood in the water. You have to wait for shark fin. You have to wait for TDI squeeze. Then you now have some moving averages, and they have to be aligned at certain times of the day. Then you look for type 1, type 2, type 3 W. Now, you could write an encyclopedia trying to trade that method. Again, it works. I traded it, works, but it's difficult to understand and can easily get you confused, right? So if you want to feel like a guru and mesmerize your friends, but not have so much money in your account, then you could trade those methods. If you want to be like a dummy and still grow your account, AQZ is the way to go, right? Because you're basically trading order blocks. I'll start with order block theory for those of you who understand order blocks, then we'll explain how AQZ makes this easy. Now, let's see this. We are bullish in this stretch. We're basically bullish in that stretch. And what did we say? In a bullish trend, the bearish candles are our friends. In a bullish trend, the bearish candles are our friends. So watch this. this is a bearish candle responsible for this high. So this bearish candle pushed up, price came back to our bearish candle, and boom, it went higher, creating a new high. Then we have this small doji-like candle responsible for the new high. Price didn't come back. We had this other candle responsible for this high. Price came back, preferred entry, and went up. Right, let's continue the move. This was a bearish candle responsible for this high. We have this to somebody, right? Kept going. We had this responsible for this new high. Price traded into the bearish candle and then shot up. Now we have this bearish candle here responsible for this new high. Price came back to the fringe and then price broke it. So I'm going to take out everything now so we'll see clearly. Again, so those of you who are used to other blocks, you could see the advantage of AQZ right now. And if you feel you're hopping around, you're not hopping around, you're basically trading the same order block you so love. So here, bearish candle response for that high, and price violated it. So in order block balance, we'll call this a breaker, because price violated this order block. Once we get a breaker, this large candle was the candle that broke this structure. Once we get a breaker, the AQZ mechanism prints a shift on the next candle. The AQZ mechanism prints a shift on the next candle and puts an arrow on your source, which is the highest point. So basically, that's it. So for those of you who feel, I mean, I just explained it, right? So that's it. So when you see a shift, is a possibility that the previous momentum trend might be changing. So this bearish candle, again, we had this bearish candle responsible for this high. Price broke the bearish candle. So we have the shift arrow appearing on the next candle. Right? We have the shift arrow appearing on the next candle. Then we know that we need to, let me make this clear. So I'm going to take out my H4 PC and I'm going to call up my momentum. Right. So notice my momentum appearing at that same point, telling where the H4 PC was. So what do I do now? I'm going to draw my fib in the direction of the shift on my momentum candle. So this, and when price returns, I take a sell. When price returns, I take a sell. Price invalidated, revalidated, and then dropped off, right? So that is momentum shift in summary. You're trying to find possible areas of change in trend. So I think we've covered enough for today. We could do momentum shifts even much more deeper. If you like the way I cover it, make it a date again next week, Thursday, all things being equal. No new pandemic to the world. Can I get H4 prophetic candle? Yes, you can get H4 prophetic candle. I'll tell you how to do that. Right, so go to AQZ, right? Somebody, I'll drop the link on the SimplyPips group. Go to AQZ. When you go to AQZ, first you have to ensure you're on TradingView. Just copy what this guy did. Yeah, I love this guy, right? He first praised us, a wonderful person. Wonderful. Yes, it's good. Right, so just go there, ensure you have your TradingView, and type at Doctable and put your TradingView username. How do you find your TradingView username? Once you get to TradingView, of course, you should know your username, but in case you've forgotten, you come to this icon up here, and then you find your username here, right? Basically.